Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Business Spotlight. I am Scott McMeans with Action Coach SBL, and I'm here with Anthony Travagliante with the Trav Media Group. Anthony, give us some information about yourself, your business, how you got started, and then tell us a little bit about what makes you so different than all the other media groups that people can find out in the marketplace. So I hand over the mic to you, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And I appreciate being welcomed on the show. So what kind of started my journey is, I think at the core, I'm an entrepreneur. So it's like I've always wanted to work for myself. I enjoy the freedom of that. I enjoy the flexibility of that. So kind of starting a marketing agency started around just like identifying what skill sets I had. So I've been playing music, tinkering in the creative fields ever since I was 13. And the company started 5 years ago, so I would have been 26, 25. So it kind of like I already almost had a decade under my belt of over a decade under my belt of creative work. So it was kind of like, well, I can do all these things creatively. How do I take filmmaking and music development and stuff and go professional, like, or make a career out of it, I guess, more so than the creative end, which was marketing. So I learned, I can start telling stories for brands, but obviously marketing is different. So I took a career in marketing first at an agency. And then I kind of ended up doing my own. And what we do differently, and why I kind of decided also to go on my own is I think the industry of marketing is a bit outdated. I think there's a lot of old practices, a lot of old ways of doing things. I think now that technology is really taking its advancement in that field, there's a lot of ways to accentuate value and do things differently. And I've kind of always felt that way, even when I was doing video production or movies or whatever. I always felt there was like a smarter way to do things, a way to either increase the value or cut some of the costs down. So when we started Trave Media Group, we actually started as a live event company. And what we would do is produce content at live events like conferences and networking events around the country, which went really well for about 2 years. And then the mystery of COVID hit and changed the landscape of everything.
The mystery.
I think it's always something it's interesting because it's like one of those things I don't think ever could have been chalked up in like a business textbook of like, how do you handle this, So,
Right.
but to me, is I guess grateful that I went through that, because now it's like, what could even like this economic downturn is nothing comparative to no one doing business. So, live events obviously were gone, and video production even really took a hit because they didn't, video production requires a lot of people. So it kind of got really slimmed down to like, all right, well, we can bring you in, but so we pivoted into websites because that's kind of where everyone went to. And then now we've kind of come full circle and flushed ourselves out as a full content agency. And what separates us, is we call ourselves a hassle-free marketing agency. So what our goal is to kind of strip the mystery and the annoyances that go along with working with marketing agencies while using these tools and processes and technologies that we've brought from other industries over to kind of amplify the value.
Yeah.
The pivoting points for why we do what we do was this concept of like marketing budgets are always the first budgets to be cut. Which is funny because marketing is what you need. You would think when, like it's like when your health is bad, you go to the doctor. It's like when your business isn't doing good, you should go to the marketing advertising teams. But it's usually the other way around, which tells me that most businesses don't find the value they're actually paying in marketing. So we've kind of stripped back the layers of marketing and found ways that we can make sure that, not for a selfish profit reason, but make sure we're something that you view as a necessity, not this like annoying thing that you dump money into every month. We want you to see the results.
That's a great way to explain what you do, and I appreciate you walking us through that. One thing that we at Action Coach do a lot to explain to people when we work with them is marketing is no longer to be viewed in your organization as an expense. It is to be viewed as an investment.
Yep.
If you put $3,000 into a marketing expense or budget or an investment, you should get X amount of dollars back. Everything within marketing is based on mathematics, right? You spend X amount of money, you contact so many people, your conversion rate is so well, And then you get so many customers, they buy so much from you, they buy how often from you. That's how you generate revenue, right? It should be an investment and viewed as such. So I think that's what is a really good thing that separates Trav Media Group is you have a very good foundational perspective that most people don't have when it comes to their marketing. So I appreciate you kind of walking us through that.
Yeah, absolutely.
As a service provider, do you do video, live events, website, do you, SEO, I'm assuming? Is there anything else you want to tell the people that you have in your portfolio, products and services?
Yeah, absolutely. So now we kind of we do the full do the full spectrum of things, and we have the relationships to do it. Generally, what we'll do is we have strategy. Like our framework is we don't really do branding. Like we can, and I've branded companies that have become our clients, but we generally don't do that. We more so will run you through like a psychological kind of branding where we'll like extract key components that help our strategies. And then we start with strategy, which starts with SEO. And then we have a couple of unique frameworks. One's called the dream outcome framework, where we essentially find what your target's dream outcome is and then create barriers in front of them to get that dream outcome. So like, for example, like if someone's trying to sell a health thing or like a weight loss thing, the reality is the plan is just a diet and workout, but there's going to be barriers there, cooking,
Mhm.
food, shopping, money, those kind of things. What that does is it gives us content to create later. So we set up the basis, and then we move into the website, because the website to me is your biggest sales tool. It's more important than social media. It's more important than anything. And if you don't have it set up correctly as a tool,
Mhm.
that's where things fail. And it's like, we use Webflow for a myriad of reasons over WordPress for that. The way we build, kind of tag on what I said earlier, like me and my business partner are we're entrepreneurs. Like I have a lot of other things going on outside of this company. And I think that mindset brings the benefit of how we market is like we look at a website for like what it's going to do more than this piece of art or something like that. So once we set up a foundational website for you, we move into content, which is guided by those pain points and things of that nature. And then it's about just amplifying that content to get attention and then converting that attention into sales. So through that process, we do video editing, graphic design. We will do blogs. We have some good relationships with PR agencies that help us with that. So pretty much anything in the content creation spectrum after a website we will do. We will do social media marketing and distribution, but we only reserve those services for clients who kind of buy onto the full suite. And the reason for that is, back again to solving pain points, is like if the whole pipeline isn't built the right way, I can't feel good about coming in at the end and promising you to fix something when I know there's a leak up here.
Sure.
So like being a social media, it allocates time. So it's like there's only so cheap we can do it for. But if you're not pumping out the right kind of content, if you're not regularly taking photos and videos and doing those things, you're never going to see that ROI from us. And
Right.
other agencies won't tell you that. They're going to be like, here, sure, pay us 25 grand and we're going to do 3 posts a month or 3 posts a week. And we're going to go forward. But at the end of the year, when it doesn't work, they're going to point the finger back at you and go, well, you didn't have photography. Well, you didn't have which is true, but we're not even going to make that sale then. So we mainly focus on strategy web content. But if you believe in us and you become one of our full-time partners, we will take you through distribution. We work with Grasslands, which is this phenomenal. They're very cannabis and wellness centric, but they're a phenomenal PR agency out in Denver. Who some of their clients have got on the cover of Forbes.
Oh,
So we
wow.
do have the means to do that. But PR, that's also an interesting field where it's based on relationships. Like there's no person I could call and get you on the cover of a magazine. Like you have to have the proposition
Right.
and the stuff to then have that relationship build. But I guess to answer your question, we do mainly web strategy and content, and then
Okay.
whatever else we can.
It sounds great. And I love I've written this down twice now since you and I've had these introductory conversation and talking today. Hassle-free marketing. It's one of the nicest ways to describe what you do compared to what everybody else has. As far as the chaos that ensues when somebody tries to figure out their marketing, you're coming in and saying, let's figure out a strategy first, and then we'll hang all the things necessary, whether it's going to be on the web and the appropriate amount of activity and functionality of your website, and then the content that drives people to it. It's a brilliant strategy, and it
A
sounds like
simple
it's been
formula too. You know,
it's been
it's a good offer plus good offer times good content plus good tools equals consumers. You know,
100%,
and it's like
100%.
it's that simple. You just got to do it. You just got to be patient. You know, I often talk about marketing too, like investing in an index fund. You know, it's that
Yeah,
compound interest. It's like it's funny to be a millionaire isn't really that hard if you can invest your money right from a young age and be patient. But it's like all of us want the quick dollar. All of us want
yeah.
to, get there faster. And it's the same with marketing. It's like I want to go viral. I want to do, and it's like really if you just allocate some money and you focus and you keep dialing in and dialing in, it's like in 5 years, you're going to be like, wow, man, like we have more passive leads coming in than we know what to do with. But can you make
It's
it to 5 years or make it to 3 years or whatever?
Yeah, the word investment is a hard thing to swallow when you're trying to make a purchase or establish your marketing. So if anybody listening to this and watching today has an understanding of what to do next when it comes to allocating money for the business, set aside money so you can invest properly in advertising or marketing and making sure you have the right tools and the right information so you can get people focused in on what you do.
Mhm.
What I want to do is ask you a little bit about what's it like to work at Trav Media Group? How many people do you have, and how would you best describe the culture that you have within the four walls of your organization?
To best describe the culture, which is kind of how I built the whole company, is I want you to be able to work from the beach. As of now, I only really have one main, I guess, full-time person, but I really like to structure the company through subcontractors. And
Okay.
um, I'm always open to what the future holds, but me personally, like why I started being an entrepreneur was like, I want to work from the beach. I don't work from the beach that often, but it's more of an analogy of, if my brother has, my family's all over. If my brother's like, hey, I got something going on in Florida, can you come down here or something? Or there's a concert or there's something I want to do in my life. I'm able to bend and work. I can go work in Michigan tomorrow. I can go work in New York City from my
Sure.
hotel room. So I want my employees to have that. Like I think now, the landscape of labor is shifting a lot. And it's like you
Mhm.
have a lot of people who are honestly underpaid, but then you also have like a lot of complications that come within the hiring process. So my goal is to always just give you the most for your flexibility. And I like working with people who kind of have that same mindset because I think it creates a culture of quality. It's like there is no
Mhm.
comfy job here. There's no $100,000 a year sit in my office job. It's like it's really based on the work you do. And I'm also someone who rewards that back where like one thing I've worked at marketing agencies, and the one thing I used to hate was they track your hours, which I completely understand from a budget standpoint, but I would feel like an orange where it's like I would do really good all week and knock all this stuff out, and I would be at like 36 hours, and they'd be like, all right, well, you have 4 hours left, so now we're going to make you a salesperson. And it's like,
Mhm.
okay, and I get it, but at the same time, it's like, where's that reward? Where's walking out on Friday at noon to go play golf because you did a good job this week? It's like that's gonna get me more productivity and better workers than anything else. So like that's kind of what I like to create as far as our culture is just like something where it's a mutual respect and it's like I trust you, go do your thing. But there's obviously, a lot of like more stakes there, I guess. But it also plays into kind of what we do of having diverse options. So the other thing is like with graphic design, for example, a small in-house team you might hire here in Cleveland might have a graphic designer, but that's one person. And they're probably
Yeah.
a super talented individual, but they come from one perspective. As an artist, I understand you have a a style. Like I play drums a certain way, I make films a certain way. I can probably mimic other things, but you're best off hiring me to do what I do best. So with some of these positions too, I want if you come to me with one of your companies and go, hey, I have this, landscaping company and I need this and this and that. I want someone who go like if I could hire a designer who's been like, I've done landscaping, I totally understand that industry. Let me take on this
Yeah.
challenge. Now I'm offering you again more value for your dollar instead of convincing you. And I work a lot in cannabis, and I think that's where that came from too, is I would watch agencies like that didn't even like even culturally understand it. You know, it's like not that you have to consume it to understand it, but it's like very clearly people who don't even understand it
Yeah.
trying to bring clients in. And it's like you're lying to these people. Like you don't understand what they're doing. And you're just trying to like cook, you're trying to paste over this like template that you've done for manufacturers 100 times. And it's like maybe it'll work, but probably not, you know, especially in like a industry like that. But I kind of take that and apply it to everything. Like I want people working with food who work with food, you know, manufacturing who work with manufacturing, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I think what you're kind of describing is I understand there's no such thing as utopia, right? But what you're describing is people that have a background from a certain industry or market have a better amount of value for trying to serve that market or industry because they've been there, they've done that. And what I
Yep.
think is interesting, and it's a cornerstone of what you made comment to, and I want to reassure the people watching, just because somebody takes 3 hours to get something done doesn't mean they weren't quality and doesn't mean they weren't really good and in tune with what you're looking for. As opposed to somebody who spent 30 hours doing it doesn't mean they did a much better job. People today have been not abused, but have been taken advantage of because they're really good at what they do and they do it in a quicker time frame. So therefore, people believe they are of less value. I look at it as if I give you a project and you get me something I really like and it fits my needs and we are off and running within 3 hours, I should reward you because you got it done fast because now I have 37 more hours this week to go execute that strategy as opposed to waiting for 40 hours to be completed so then we can move forward. We
It's a
have a
great point.
very strange mentality in the United States where we are more interested in giving people reward or production qualification based on the hours they worked, based as opposed to the quality of work that they did.
Yep.
And it's almost counterproductive because if I am going to be paid for the quality of work I do and it only take me 3 hours, I'm incented to do really good work in 3 hours. And then I can go do more work for somebody else and therefore I can make more money. But we have a mentality that well, I'm paying you for 40 hours, so I expect you to be here working for 40 hours. Well, then people are not going to be productive for 37 hours, which seems stupid to me.
Now it's about making it to 40 hours.
Right, right.
Which I just read this. I just posted this thing on LinkedIn where it's like a huge stat now of people job hop every 6 months. And it's like that is the result of that culture. Like people
Yes.
get into a job and they're like, I got to make it 6 months and then I'm going to get a raise at my next job and I'm going to keep going up. And it's like they're winning. Why are they going to do things any different? Like there's no reward system of, hey, you did really awesome work. And as a worker, you know, like naturally what you do, what I do, you're going to get better over time. Like I can shoot a video twice as fast as I could a decade ago, just because I've done it 100
Right.
times. Like so I should so I should make less money because of all that the countless hours and video times I sit here at night on Saturday watching YouTube videos on how to shoot a
No.
better video or something. You know, it's an interesting concept.
Well, I agree with the idea of we should change the way people are compensated. Now, there's certain jobs, yes, you need to be there and handle the phones. You need to be there and handle customer service. I understand that.
For
When it
sure.
comes to creative, where it comes to productivity, that is not isolated to X amount of units being produced in a given time frame. We can do a much better job of rewarding people for a job well done because the production is there. And I love
Absolutely.
the attitude that you have here, which is diverse. My style or my history in this field allows me to do things differently. That should be rewarded or at least more attractive to somebody within that industry to say, I'm going to go after Trav Media Group because they have this list of clientele they've done in that space. I think they can do the same thing for me because at least they know or have a foundation of where they come from to get that done. Does that make
Absolutely.
sense?
Yep.
Oh,
I
good. I
agree.
like that. I like that a lot. With this, okay, we're talking about the great things. What kind of challenges or what kind of things have you faced over the last decade doing these different things and now have Trav Media Group up and running for 5 years? What are some of the things that you would want to teach or showcase? Hey, man, my experience says don't do this, or my experience says this is a challenge and how to overcome it. How would you address that?
Um, One is that like if you're starting a business, keep in mind that you're the entrepreneur. You know, I think my biggest mistake starting or I don't want to say biggest mistake, but like I work a lot in the business. I'm slowly kind of moving my way away from that now, thankfully. But what that prohibits me from doing is making sales and driving revenue and doing all
Mm,
the things that keep the blood of a business going. So the one book that really is awesome on this is called the E-Myth Principle.
mm,
And it's basically, in summary, like you're the entrepreneur. Like you can't be baking the cakes if you own the bakery. Like at the beginning, there's obviously that time where you bake the cakes. So I think my first piece of advice is, a lot of businesses start with, I'm good at this, let me make a living doing it. I think you need to have your contingency plan immediately of like how within a year, 2 years, 3 years am I removing myself from from this?
mm,
Because at the same time, I didn't make this mistake, but I've seen it made a bunch, is you can't remove yourself too quickly either. Like what'll happen is if you get involved in the industry, in the company too much for 5, 6 years, and then you just pull yourself out because you have money. Well, now like everyone's used to you. You're the face of the industry. You're the voice. So that's something I'm moving myself into more of like a creative direction role where I'm kind of overseeing things, but not doing the labor.
yeah,
So that was one. I had another one, but I completely forgot it. It'll come back to me.
that's okay.
Yeah, it'll come back.
What are some of the challenges that you faced building Trav Media Group? Like, is there something that stands out to say, I would never do that again, and this is why I wouldn't allow it to happen to me again? Something stick out in your brain?
I would never let happen again. I did remember what I was going to say, which kind of tags, I guess, and on this is processes, like building the processes from the beginning. I think, like the struggle I face now, it's just, it's not something I did, I guess, but like sales ends up being your biggest problem always, like in cash flow. Like at some point, you might start flush, you might start bad, you might, it's like it's always going to be that, and it's having the processes in place to handle that. Like even admittingly for us, like over the past year, it's been building out like I'm so grateful and I've built so many strong relationships that I make a living through my relationships, which is awesome. But it's like to get to the next level, you have to have people coming through Google, through social media, through your website, all those things, and becoming warm leads. Um, and if you don't have that process set up, like I've watched $1 million companies not have a sales process, just like,
Mhm.
you know, trying to think if there's something I would have never done again. I mean, one thing I guess I would have never done again is like quickly partner with the wrong partner. Early on at the beginning of my run here, the company name was different, but I partnered with a friend of mine, and it was just like not the move. It's like
Okay.
it's nothing against friends or people or anything, but it's
Sure.
like business is like it's about clear functionality and clear accountability. It's like everyone, and this is like as someone who loves entrepreneurship, it's like everyone's an idea guy. Like everyone's like, oh, let's open up a food truck, or let's open up a bakery, or let's open up this, and it's like it's fun to sit back and crack a beer and think of ideas,
Sure.
but to actually go do it oftentimes sucks. Like starting, like even now, it's like it's like I got this awesome sales plan, and it's like picking up the phone and make calls sucks, but you got to do it, and it's
Yeah.
like taking those steps and making sure if you're going to partner with someone, they understand like, all right, this is your role, and this is my role. Because if not, like, I have not been married yet, but I would imagine it's somewhat similar to a marriage where you're on a legal document with an individual. If there's money involved, like if you have a loan, that person leaves your company, because you can just I forgot the technical term, but you can just bow out of an LLC basically. Like you can just say I'm
Yeah.
withdrawing from the LLC, see you later. And it's like if you're with someone like that and they withdraw, guess what? Your debts are your debts. There is
Yeah.
no, there's some safety nets, but not really. So it's like it's just like who you marry, who you're gonna partner with, like, and at least like set it up. There's ways to set it up too, where each of you mutually have your own separate entity that works together, and there's ways to protect yourself. So if you're a little leery, you can go into it that way. But I would say that's probably the biggest mistake I made, just because it was like a divorce. Like it cost me money, it cost me, relationships and all that kind of stuff. So just especially
Well,
if it's your dream, like it's your dream, protect it.
well, one thing I will tell you, I think, without going into full detail here, Anthony, you kind of said this is what I would never do again. This is what I learned. But remember, this is what you learned. So moving
Oh yeah.
forward, that is something that you can build on. And you know what? If you and a partner are no longer aligned to the North Star that you're trying to follow, it's time to separate. Whether that is a marriage or that's part of your business partnership, you both recognize, or somebody recognizes it, brings it to the table and says, you know what? We're not marching to the same beat anymore. We need to figure this out, or we need to get out. And I
Yep.
give you credit for taking that stand because it does cost money and it does set you back. But when you get a chance to take a step back so you can take 3 or 4 steps forward, which is in your situation the case, that's a strong, bold move to make, but it's one that has to be made. So I give you credit for
Sure.
doing that.
Entrepreneurship and life, we talked about this in our intro call, but it's like that's why I love entrepreneurship. And as I've gotten older, I don't think everyone is cut out for it, and I don't think everyone can own a business. But I think it's like I wish everyone did it as a hobby at some point. Like I wish everyone took something that they liked and tried to do it because, dude, it's so much of like what you're learning here is so much what life is. It's like that same lesson could be applied to a marriage or a friendship or anything. It's like if you
100%.
if you can learn how to respect yourself and set boundaries and know who you are and what you need in a business, you can apply that everywhere else in your life, and like your life just gets better. Like if I never tried this owning a business, and it's like I believe it's in my blood, like it's what I'm meant to do.
Oh, sure.
If I never tried it, it's like my I'm a better person because of my business, and that's why I love it.
Good for you. And that's, one of the things you would ask me, what do I do? Is that I don't fix businesses. That's not what Action Coach is all about. But what we do is build better business people so they're capable of fixing themselves and then owning the business they've always wanted to own. It's a very different mindset. And everything that we talked about today, Anthony, I appreciate you opening the can and kind of letting it all out. It's life lessons turned to business lessons, which turn back to life lessons. And it's a vicious, very educational process that people have to go through to go from where they started to where they want to be. It's never easy, but it's all self-contained. And if you have the cojones to open a business, right? And you have the strength to keep your direction there, despite distractions, even the distraction that you face, if you just keep marching forward, you're going to be successful. You fail when you give up. And I think that's a life lessons that can be shown very strong in a business lesson because it's all about moving forward. We
Absolutely.
are wrapped up. We've gone through quite a bit of time here, Anthony. I appreciate it. You've
Yeah,
been
for sure.
excellent. I think there's a ton of information that people are going to be very happy to listen to. And quite frankly, I think there's a lot of educational parts here from just the way you set up your business to the type of people you like to work with. I love working from a beach mentality. I think that's something we all strive for. And it goes back to the mentality of do you work in your business or do you work on your business? And I think more and more people want to work on their business, they'll take your advice and start setting their business up for success, whether
Absolutely.
it's through an investment with you or just getting the processes in place, as you made comment, that make the business foundationally sound. Everybody's good. So I appreciate you spending time with us today. This has been great.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Any last words?
Um, I guess if you wanna, if you like what I have to say and want to hear more, you can find me at travmediagroup.com. I'm on X or Twitter, whatever you call it nowadays. At Anthony underscore Trav 22. And then I'm on LinkedIn at Anthony Travagliante, which my name will probably be spelled out somewhere in the comments
Absolutely, it
here.
will be.
But please, I love and I have a network of people. My brother Dustin works with me and stuff, and we love chatting business. So regardless if you want my marketing agency or you like something I said and want to pick my brain, I learn from these sessions as well. So
Perfect.
please connect if you saw this. I appreciate it.
Yeah, all your details will be included down in the
In
links
the link
in the description
below,
below. Yeah,
as they
so it'll
say.
all be down there. Don't worry about it. And
Awesome.
I want to thank you for being a part of the business spotlight. And we
I
will see
appreciate
you.
it. Thanks for having me.
Oh my God, yeah, absolutely. We'll see everybody next time. This is Scott McMeans with Action Coach SBL.